Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the school committee May 22nd, 2025 meeting. At this time, I'll call to order and ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up is introduction of members. I'll start over here with Jane.
Jane Reggio, Millville. Carrie Gaudette, Blackstone.
Erin Binaco, Millville.
Charles Dunton, Blackstone.
Tara Scobie, Blackstone. Tara Larkin, Millville.
Dan Keefe, Blackstone.
Maya Gagne, Student Council President.
Joe Spagna, Director of Finance and Operations.
Jill Gallerani, Assistant Superintendent, Director of Student Services.
Jason DeFalco, Superintendent.
And Maya will hand the floor to you, student representative.
Thank you. So I bring an update from the high school. Our track and field team attended the Twilight Invitational at Norwell High School on Saturday, May 24th, and will be attending states on May 29th and June 1st at Tufts University. Today we had our annual Rochambeau, which is like a school-wide rock, paper, scissors battle where everyone's got some beads, and if you win the other person's beads. So out of the whole school, our freshman winner was Landon LaValle. He won the entire event, students and teachers. And speaking of teachers, we had teacher superlatives, which were given out today to 14 of our teachers, which were voted on by our students. So like student superlatives, we had teacher ones, like Pinterest-worthy classroom, most likely to know all of your names. We had our senior banquet last night at Arrowhead Acres in Uxbridge, and it was a huge success, loved by our seniors. And our seniors' last day is tomorrow, which will begin with a senior parade, senior signing, whether they're going off to college, the workforce, or taking a gap year, and will culminate in the annual Brazilian volleyball tournament in the afternoon. Our student council has started their first ever BMR mentorship program. So what that's going to look like is we have upperclassmen who are going to be paired with incoming 8th graders to make sure that they are well-grounded and well-supported as they begin high school, especially as 8th graders since they are younger. So each mentor will be assigned 2 to 3 8th grade students, and they will meet each other this June at our step-up day, and will meet again on orientation day. They will also get together during the first 2 days of school and make sure that the 8th graders have a solid foundation for their first year at BMR. This mentorship program will continue with monthly meetings and team bonding during charger time. And as this is happening, our current 8th graders are getting ready for their DC trip, which will be happening in June.
Oh, thank you, Matt, very much. Any follow-up questions from the committee? Well, while you're still sitting here, I'm going to ask to take out of order on the school committee agenda, approve girls' state application sponsor fee.
Dan, can I ask one
Yes,
question?
you may.
What time do you guys start the parade? Do you have a meeting time? Like what time for the senior parade?
I know it's first period, I believe around 7:25, 7:30, but I can go get a time and email you.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll jump over to item B on school committee agenda, approve girls' state application.
Yeah.
Superintendent?
Do you want to give a little overview?
So I know Maya had brought to us an opportunity presented to go to Girl State. So those who may, if you don't know about Girl State, it's a full week that she would be going, and it's about the citizenship, government, and leadership, and they actually practice all those skills within that week. And it's a great opportunity. I know I said before, I had the opportunity when I was in high school as well. So we were, very grateful. I think it would be a wonderful experience for her and to be able to bring back, to BMR. So we are looking to be her sponsors for this. And we're looking for the committee's approval for us to be able to send our representative.
And there's a little bit of information about Girls State in your package.
Yes.
This would be a tremendous opportunity, not just for mine, but for our district to have the student representative there. It's at Stonehill for the
It
full
is.
week, and it's toward the end of June.
It is. And it's a great start. It's something that we can definitely look to expand in the future. But I appreciate you took the initiative to bring that to us. I think it would be a great experience.
boys' state too?
I don't think so. Not that I'm
There
aware
are
of.
in other states.
Yeah, not aware of it. Well, maybe there is, I'm not sure.
I'll make that motion that we approve the $400. I think it's an amazing opportunity for.
Agreed.
Second.
Motion made by Erin and seconded by Tara. Any further discussion? Well, congratulations, and we wish you the best, and thank you for representing us.
Thank you.
We are. Let's make discussion. Any more? Is there any further discussion?
It's a unique way.
Is there any? Oh, she's leaving now. But is there any further discussion?
Maya, never leave before the vote.
Yes.
See, lesson number one.
Lesson number one as an elected official.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I'll update you next
Bring
meeting.
back all the good
Okay.
stuff.
Thanks, Maya.
Thanks.
That was a tactic of encouraging the vote when you congratulate them.
That was a good tactic there.
Okay, and while we're out of, taking the agenda out of order,
Kellen's here now.
okay, yes, okay. We're gonna go into the report of this superintendent, student recognition. Is it, I'm sorry, Kellen Shave?
Yep.
Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Kellen, if you would like to join us up front. Every year, we have the distinct pleasure of recognizing one of our seniors with the Superintendent Scholar Award. And there's really quite strong criterion that need to be met in order to be the recipient of this award. And this will be the second time Kellen's recognized, and there'll be a third at awards night next week. But you have to be the top 5% of 3-year cumulative average overall in your class, top 5% in class rank, and then personal recommendations from both the high school administration and district administration. So Kellen, I just want to issue this to you again, and Mr. Chairman, if you will
Yes, sir.
actually do that, I'll get a picture.
Sure.
Congratulations.
We are very proud of you, and Kellen was recognized at Holy Cross with
Yes.
the other recipients.
Here you go.
Thank
you.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In your packet is actually a photo of Kellen with the award at our Worcester County Superintendent Scholar Luncheon that was held at Holy Cross. And actually BMR prints those booklets that you all
That's right.
had a copy of those as well.
Well, thank you again, and congratulations.
Nice work.
Congratulations.
And next, we'll do the item B under superintendent, the introduction of Christine Pizzulo, interim food service director.
Yes, thank you. Christine, if you want to join us down front for just a moment. In your packets, you do have Christine's resume. She has been filling in as our food service director for a few weeks now. And I think determining if she may want to stay the course or not, but
Well, Jess and Joe say I have to, so
Christine's
Well,
doing great work
welcome.
with the team.
thank you.
And Christine, you're usually sitting on this side of the
I am,
table.
yes, I am. I like it better on this side. Much easier, less
You want to
homework.
say a few words to the committee, that'd be great.
Thanks. I've been here in the district. This was my second school year. I started as the administrative assistant, and I really enjoy being here. I'm learning a ton. I've worked in schools pretty much my whole life in various roles. I am on the school committee in Uxbridge, so I'm very familiar with budget and policy and all of that fun stuff. Have a great support system. Joe has been phenomenal. Jess and Claire has been excellent, and so we're really figuring it out, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm glad to be working with this team.
Do you mind if I make a comment?
Joe, go ahead.
Christine came into this position at a very difficult time. A lot of reporting was due. There was a lot of information that had to be gathered, and it was new to both of us. And she's basically stepped up and led the charge. She's done a great job. So we're on target. We're on time. We're cleaning some things up that were a little bit messy, and it's just been great. So hopefully, you are staying, by the way. So
Apparently,
she's done a great job.
thank you very much.
Thanks for the great
Thanks,
work,
Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. aboard.
Welcome. Again.
Again, yeah.
Re-welcome.
And the last item we'll take out of order, before we go back to the normal format of the agenda, will be the introduction with the Blackstone Police Department for the community comfort dog. It's not the introduction of the dog, which is another couple of weeks to come.
I know.
Oh,
We were hoping.
Not that we're not excited to see you guys too, but
Where's the dog?
puppy would be better.
Come with us.
In this weather.
We're glad you're here too, Joe.
Good evening. Thanks for the invite. Joe Nimzik, I'm the school resource officer for the district, here with Lieutenant Broder. Just wanted to introduce you to our new program we're adding to the department. It's a community service comfort therapy dog. So I've watched these dogs work within the school district. We currently have one at the high school now. He used to be housed here at the middle school. They just bridge the gap between the police for us and the students. Just encourage communication, foster relationships, build trust with the kids, aid in all de-escalation stuff. Just calms everything in a stressful situation. So we're going to be bringing a dog in about 2 weeks. It's an English lab. So basically, I've been thinking about this program for a while. Too busy with family. We used to have a dog. We lost it this past June. My kids are going off to college in the fall. So I thought it was time to approach the chief. Told him about the program. There was recently one started in Uxbridge, and there's several others throughout the state. He told me go out and do some research, so I did. I met with animal control. He helped me a ton. Then I met with Lenny Goslin, retired canine officer from Bellingham Police that I know. He owns Loyal Guardian Kennels. And I asked him to help me start a program. So he said, sure, I can help you, but I have 1 week-old pups on the ground, so this has to happen quick. So Len met with Jen Hurt, who is Stonewall Kennels. They do canine training right here in Bellingham, close by. They drafted a proposal. I presented it to my chief. He accepted it. We then had a meeting with school administration. Everybody was on board. May 7th was a big day for me. I brought my family there to introduce to the pups. They were excited. Currently, there's 3 white labs, 3 black labs. They're getting temperament tested next week to see which line of service they're going to go into. 3 are going to Boston Police for bomb detection. Another one's going to their police range as a comfort dog. And one's going to the private sector for comfort therapy work, a volunteer basis. So they're all going into service homes. Training, pretty extensive. It's a 16-month training, 12-week basic puppy commands. Then we go into a good citizen public access, and then finish off with a comfort therapy certificate. So everybody wants to know what the dog's name is. So what I've done is my kids are coming up with 4 names. Then we're going to put it out to the kids at school, and then they can vote, and we'll name the dog. So come home day, I believe, is June 3rd. There's a selectmen's meeting that night. I believe that's when the dog's going to get sworn in. So we'll be present there. And then we'll be off to work. Just wanted to thank a few people that helped me out. Animal Control Officer Kevin Sullivan, Chief Gilmore, Lieutenant Broder, the Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, Lenny Goslin, Jen Hurtu, Stonewall Kennels, Officer Dan DeVoe, Uxbridge Police, and of course my family.
And Joe, when he presented this, we had the chance to actually meet Cash, the new comfort dog, the pup, in Uxbridge, and I believe it was Titan from Milford. Was it Titan?
Correct.
Yeah, we had an opportunity to meet them that day.
Yeah, we brought Titan in. He's assigned to Milford Police, actually assigned to the courts there. It's one of Lenny's dogs as well. It's 2 years old. It's finished its training. So we got to see the difference between the puppy and the finished dog. Any questions?
How old will the puppy be when he starts, or when he or she starts their training?
June 4th, right away. We're going right into it right away. So all phases of training, we can work with the dog in the schools. And when the schools aren't in session, I'll be working in the parks. We have summer school programs. We have the bike path. We any sporting events, any requests that we get, Boys and Girls Club, things like that.
And will the dog be available June 12th at 6 p.m. for an introduction at our next school committee meeting?
I believe we can make that happen.
Poor dog. It's going to be busy.
Any follow-up questions for our SRO officer or Lieutenant Broder? Thank you for attending.
No
Never
problem.
at a loss for words,
No
Lieutenant.
problem.
I appreciate your effort in making this happen. I think it will make a difference.
Thank you.
Well, we look forward to meeting our unnamed dog. And when is the vote going to be again for the
The vote will be at school next week.
next week? Okay. And so we'll have a name by the 12th.
I'll
Excellent.
report back to the chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. I appreciate all the hard work and dedication from you, the administration, all those people you mentioned, and look forward to a successful future with our new unnamed comfort dog. Thanks again for all
Thank
you
you.
do, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, we'll go back to consent agenda A to approve minutes from May 13th, 2025.
So moved.
Motion made by Kerry,
Second.
seconded by Jane. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next is public forum. Anyone wishing to address the committee can come right up to the table.
Rachel Anderson on the Board of Selectmen in Millville. So I want to just help clarify for the public because regarding MES and the water problem, emails saying that Mass DEP says that for drinking, consuming 2 liters per day every day for 70 years is of concern. That's if you do 2 liters every day for 70 years. In addition, cooking with it, consuming the equivalent of 20 plus servings of pasta every day for 70 years. I think if you tried to do that, you'd actually die from the pasta first before actually having health concerns from the water. And so, you know, we're going to provide bottled water and everything like that. And yet there's concerns about kids filling up their water bottles in sinks and bathrooms. My concern is, who's teaching kids to fill up their water in the bathroom? That's a bit weird. I'm gonna be frank here. It's really weird to have kids do that. And why would a teacher allow a kid to bring a water bottle to the bathroom in the first place? You also mentioned that you want to put the idea of putting pre-K into the high school. However, did you know the high school, well, you should look at the budget. The budget has lines for air monitoring for asbestos and mediation for asbestos in the high school. And you want to put pre-K kids in a building that has asbestos that's actively having air monitoring done on it. You know, it only takes 1 particle of asbestos to develop asbestosis in the lungs years later. And you want to put pre-K kids in there. It's really something. There's also concerns in the high school of mold. And you want to put pre-K kids in there. I don't know how many times I'm going to reiterate this. And what about the water at the high school itself? You know, there's certain water fountains there that kids are supposed to use, and so we could apply the same logic. Are pre-K kids going to go fill up their water bottles in the bathroom sinks? Something to think about. So, yeah, and then one last thing. I just have a minor concern. Is when I went to visit DeFalco a couple weeks ago to have a meeting about the budget, which he didn't present, unfortunately, at that time, but then emailed me later about it. When I was there to speak with him, I saw a bunch of special ed kids carrying in empty boxes into the school, and I'm just concerned as to why they would be doing that. I hope they're not moving stuff for you guys. I would just like clarification as to what's going on with that.
Thank you, Selectwoman Anderson. Anyone else would like to address? Sure.
Thank you. Evening, everybody. My name's Jake Stanley, 6B Middle Street, Blackstone. I think we can all agree, as leaders here in town as you are, to be an effective leader, one of the key things you have to respect is the fact that you don't know it all. We can all agree with that, I believe. A couple head nods, good. I think that's one of the key things of leadership, realizing that you don't have every answer. And when that's the case, you've got to listen to the experts. Now, every one of you, every person in this room has a background that gives them some expertise. Throw it out. What some of you do? What are your careers? What is your expertise? Anyone? Nothing? Danny, most popular guy in town. What do we think?
Well, I thought it was rhetorical. So,
I'd love to hear. What do you guys do? What do you do?
yeah, well, this is kind of good and welfare. So, but you know what I mean? I'm a contractor. So
Perfect.
Use me as an example.
So construction, boom, awesome experience to have on this board whenever we're doing construction. I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone on this board has actual background in public drinking water and public health for public drinking water. Please raise your hand if I'm incorrect.
Just to be clear, this committee has made that very clear over the last 2 years.
Beautiful. I'm sitting here before you hoping that you'll listen to some of what I have to say. I am the Deputy Water and Sewer Superintendent for the town of Franklin. I've held this position for over 4 years. I've been in the public drinking water sector for 12 and a half years. So everything that you're dealing with now at MES, I've been dealing with for over a decade. So I hope that some of what I have to say will resonate. First and foremost, you guys have written consent and verbal consent from DEP that school is safe to reoccupy with children. DEP does nothing without a certainty. They are a regulatory state agency. I work with them every single day in, day out for what I do. And they will never, ever, ever back a move without knowing 100% that it is safe. They would never take on that liability. So to have that written consent, to have that verbal consent, speaks volumes. And I'm here to reiterate their points and push their points that they should be considered more seriously. As for the provisions made by the school for the drinking water being provided to the students in bottles, that makes this 100% a safe scenario. And as part of what DEP wants to see us do at that school, which is treat the current problem, there's only one way to get sound science and to find out how to treat this problem effectively. And that is to flow that system like it's supposed to flow every day. And you cannot mirror hundreds of students and staff in a building by having a single person turn on a few faucets every day. You will never get that kind of data that they need to get an accurate representation of how we need to treat this water. You're just kicking the can if you think that's going to be the case. So in order to get the data we need to treat this water effectively and put this $1 million grant to good use, we have to get that school occupied again. There have to be kids in that school so we can get this data and get these samples done and start moving forward. To do anything else is just prolonging the problem. And finally, I am a parent of a young man who will be attending kindergarten next year. So I have some skin in the game there too. And personally, from my point of view, as a drinking water professional in this state, I have zero concerns for his health when it comes to the drinking water in that school. I understand that there is drinking water being provided via bottles. I know the risks associated with the contaminants that are being put out there that we are attempting to treat for. And I understand that if he drinks a bottle of water, maybe not provided, maybe out of a faucet there, it's not the end of the world. These are long-lasting contaminants that people have to consume regularly for decades to see negative effects on. And personally, I feel that it's within this board's best interests to listen to the experts, listen to the DEP regulators, listen to sound science, and put all personal opinions aside if you are not someone who you could consider to be an expert in this particular situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Cole Young. I live in Millville. I just want to reiterate what he said. I think the kids should be back in that school. We should be utilizing it. I don't think that anybody here on the board, and I think you did, I think I heard you confirm that no one here does have a degree in science, chemistry, biology to make a determination whether whether the water is safe or not, and that Mass DEP does say that the water is safe. And again, I think they would be the first agency that would, take the kids' safety as priority number one and make that call and say the kids need to be moved. When they never said the kids need to be moved. I believe there's something else going on here that, whatever it be, political move with a new high school or whatever it may be. I would also like to say, Dan, last year you told me and Jennifer that you were going to vote to put the kids back in the school this year. And I heard that you voted against it. I know you're not from Millville, you're a rep for Blackstone, but that was a conversation that you and I and Jennifer had last year. And I'd also like to see maybe some data comparing the safety of AFM JFK complex to Millville Elementary. Someone had posted online, and it makes complete sense. Like, where's the lead testing and the asbestos checks and radon levels and water testing from the AFM and JFK complex? So to see the differences in the safety hazards between the two schools. I just think what's going on is the water's not the problem. I think that there's something else going on, whether it be a political move to try for the new school or whatever it may be, or if it's a personal vendetta with someone that doesn't like the town of Millville and wants to see, the town fail, whatever it may be. And I just, from listening to what other residents say and some people that have been in town a very, very long time, like decades and decades, that seems to be my opinion of what it is. When no one here has the scientific data to prove the water is not safe for the kids. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right.
Wendy's coming up.
I'm sorry, Wendy. I didn't see it back there.
Wendy Greenstein, 4 Liberty Hill Drive. I just have a question regarding the agenda, and I'm wondering if you have public forum in the beginning, is it possible to have a public forum after a presentation so that the public can respond to anything that's during the meeting as well? I know you have it right at the beginning, but and I know you can't answer me because it's public forum, but just something to think about if you're going to move something out of order. Most of the people come to listen to the presentation, and we'd like to be able to respond, but in the beginning, you can't really respond to anything because there's nothing to respond to. So I just had a request to maybe put it in as a second one or move it down lower if there's something that you see a large amount of people here for. That's it. Thank you.
So I can respond to that. So typically, as a chairman, a chairman will have discretion for public engagement on any given issue. And I think I've had that latitude throughout. If there's a subject being discussed and someone from the public wanted an input during that subject, I will generally allow them to address the committee with their concerns or thoughts on that subject. So I don't know if that helps you this evening, but we can also consider putting another one. You can re-engage if you want, but I don't know if that's what you were getting at, or.
Sorry, I should have stayed. I think just following the protocol and Robert's rules, I think just following things in order is important. So I just think if you have it at the end, it just gives an opportunity for the public to speak.
Are you asking for public comment at the beginning and the end?
Well, when I was on the committee, we used to have it at the beginning. We used to have it at the beginning and the end. It's at the discretion of the chair.
Right.
What I'm saying is most of the people that come to the meetings, they come to listen to what is on the agenda. So if there's not an opportunity for them to respond to something that they might have heard at these meetings, that's kind of where things start to fly, on social media and things like that. So I think just having an opportunity to respond to things that either they agree with or disagree with is just an opportunity. I spoke more than 3 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Well, I can add a public forum at the end of the agenda that I have here is pretty much what I inherited. I have no problem amending it or.
Just a request.
Yeah, no trouble. But with that being said, if you need to engage in any subject, just raise your hand and I'll be more than happy to recognize anyone in the audience. Anyone else for public good and welfare or public comment? All right, so that brings us to school committee item A, correct, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes.
I covered everything else.
Yep.
Request to address the school committee from the Millville Board of Selectmen. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Good yourself?
Good. A little wet out there, but we'll get through it. I see you have the MSBA update further on. Can I touch upon that? Is anybody opposed to that?
Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Just want to touch upon that real quick. So, as most of you may or may not be aware, we did have an update with the MSBA. The chair attended, Dr. DeFalco, myself, members of the state. In state speak, essentially, they're expecting a deliverable from us within about 2.5 weeks. They're looking for a letter for a decision and, I guess, a unified, cohesive direction. My understanding is that they anticipate children in there, K through 12, or some mixed component thereof. After tonight's meeting, they're hoping that we can draft a letter and have a response for them. They left the inference that the executives may do some form of a clawback, which is roughly $850,000. So we need to come together and have some form of a decision. I hear a lot of back and forth, and the last 2 years have not been easy. And I've had multiple calls with Mr. Chairman and myself, and I think we're pretty well aligned to the fact that we're done with the drama. You guys are done with it. I'm done with it. I'm not slinging any mud. We've made, I think the town of Millville has made concessions. We've heard you loud and clear. We've given you bottled water. We are doing testing, and we have this fantastic grant, as you're aware of. It's like hitting the lottery. There's what, 1 in 36 or 38 across the United States, some number like that. It's $1 million. This water issue is a common issue across the country. It's not unique to Millville. And where I work in the southern state, and even your business manager can probably attest, coming from the state that I am also working for, there's issues down there, and I've talked to my counterparts there. It's across the nation. It's not unique to Millville. I think it's time to put these kids back in the district, back into the Millville Elementary School. I don't want to risk this grant. I don't want to risk a clawback from the state, and I think it would be fair for you folks to revisit this and hopefully come to a vote. And as the chair and I have mentioned, the chair and I have spoken, and I think we're pretty well aligned on this. It's time to put the kids first. This isn't a safety issue. These kids are not dealing with some sort of hazardous waste coming out of the faucet. And I believe our treatment program has come a long way. And most times we're either under or on the border of meeting the state's guidelines. My understanding is this new equipment is going to be clean day one. I'm not a water operator. You folks are not. I have to listen to the experts. They're affirming that this thing is going to work. And I would hope so. The state and the feds are investing $1 million in this thing. And as you know, you turn on the TV, you know, grant money is not easy to come by. There's a lot of clawbacks everywhere. So we've been given a very rare opportunity here. And I think we need to take advantage of it. And the first thing we have to do is just put the personal attacks, the misinformation, the rumors aside. And so that's why I come before you humble tonight and say, I think it's time. With that being said, I also know that there's a lot of hesitation from this board, and we've also taken some steps to address the situation. Millville has taken a vote. We are prepared and we are unified to withdraw from the district. Effective, well, we're going to start on a strategic plan at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we will begin the works. I do have a straw man, and I have been putting together a plan to get the district back up on its feet and to move forward. And as well as today, we've had some calls with state officials. It seems very doable for us. And if that's the way that things need to go and we need a divorce, then so be it. Maybe Blackstone and Millville just need to split amicably. It's very possible. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So with that being said, I hope that tonight you folks will think seriously about what's on the table. And if you don't have a vote on your agenda, and I don't see it, maybe in the near future, but we are beginning at 9 a.m. tomorrow to start with a withdrawal process. So please take that into consideration. And we are serious about this. The vote was unanimous, so we are going to move forward. So it's disheartening. It's very sad for both communities, and I hope we can reconcile this.
Erin.
On what basis is the withdrawal? What was the vote, the basis of the vote?
The basis of the vote is that if there is no change after tonight and you have not considered revoting, that we will then begin to move forward with our strategic plan. And again, I have been compiling this for some time, so.
And it was unanimous with 5
Board of
selectmen?
Selectmen, yes. So we are serious and we are committed about putting the children back in the school. I think Millville deserves it.
I frankly don't like the part of the threat of 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Well, there's no threat. That's a promise, ma'am.
Okay.
Can I?
I'm a Millville town taxpayer. You'd have to probably get it through all of them, more than 5 people.
So we've spoken to the state and we have spoken to the strategies on how to pull this off, and there are options. And frankly, if you don't mind me saying, I think part of the reason we're here is because of you.
Me personally?
Yes.
I appreciate that.
And you can take offense to it.
All right.
I'm not
So,
offended.
all right, so just for some order, we're trying to get away from the direct.
We
and
are.
Trying to, all right, so I'll, Kerry, you,
When did this vote take place?
Our last Board of Selectmen meeting,
During the meeting?
During the meeting it took place?
executive session.
when that was, this week, was it,
I can shoot from the hip. I don't have any dates in front of me.
was it this week?
The last meeting.
Okay.
19th, I believe.
I'm gonna ask, was it Monday? Because
Monday.
you called me Tuesday morning.
Yeah, exactly. We spoke Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay. Tara. Tara, no?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember what I was gonna
Yeah,
ask now.
it's on the agenda posted.
Oh, based on the vote, your basis of your vote was that the school committee doesn't consider revisiting, revoting.
Yep.
So say we revisit and we revote and it fails. Is that you're still moving forward?
Yes.
So, but we would have revoted. So how does that
If you
work?
revote, then we will not continue forward.
If we
you
revote
revote and it's successful, then we will not continue forward.
So does your motion say, oh,
Yes.
if it's successful?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And again, you're catching me from shooting from the hip, so.
Jane.
Mr. Chairman, is this an agenda item where we can speak to the issues at hand?
So this says it's an agenda item.
Yeah, please don't address this.
The school committee, the Board of Selectmen asked to engage with us, so we can engage back.
I have written in front of me a proposal to try to rescind the vote.
Thank you.
But hear me out
Sure.
first. I had that before you made your comments. The threat you just made, and it's a threat, and whatever you want to call it, it is a threat. You do this or we'll do this, has great significance to the entire community of Millville and the community of Blackstone. So if you're going to put that forward, more information that you have from the state and plan and strategic plan that you have should be shared, because I am guessing it is a huge financial burden to a town that couldn't pass a $750,000 override. So I'm guessing that while the threat is there, it's pretty much a baseless threat, because I agree with Aaron. I am not sure that the community would financially take the burden of running its own school district and its own school system. Having said that, I do think that when I left the committee several years ago, I had seen no movement from Millville. I had seen no good faith effort. I had seen no even commitment to saying the water belongs to the town. That has clearly changed, and I think there has been good faith on the part of the town to try to rectify the situation, the promise of bottled water, the $1 million grant from the state. And I think as a school committee, we have an obligation to move this issue forward. We asked for certain things, we received those certain things. I am hesitant to change anything until the grant is actually, or the process to get started is actually approved. It has not been. I understand that there is concern if there are no kids in the school, why the grant? So I think we're in this kind of catch-22, but I do think the good faith is there. I do think we should look to rescind the vote that we made, not necessarily make another vote tonight, but have another plan once the project is actually underway. I don't understand the 180 days. I don't understand a lot of it, but again, I haven't been on the committee when you've been addressing those issues. I do think we have to take the personal attacks out of this. This is not a Millville school committee issue. This is a school district. Where are our students best served? We have health issues in every single one of these buildings. That's why we're doing a new building committee. That's why we've had to do mold abatement in the elementary school in Blackstone. We have issues in every building. We have facility people who are trying to address those. Millville is trying to address it in Millville, and we have to support the efforts going forward, because we have to do what's best for the children and what's best for our communities to keep our educational programs strong. I won't read my actual motion, but I do think we should rescind last week's vote. I think it was done in haste without enough information.
Thank you, Jane. Anyone else? Because I want to follow up on. Richard and I mean, I'll be very frank with you, and I expect the same from you.
Of course.
And when Richard, you called me Tuesday morning and explained the vote that you
Yes.
took, I did encourage you to not, the caveat of the deregionalization would not go well. It would be taken as a threat. We started off great at this meeting. We both agree, we want to put this stuff behind us. And,
We do.
And the personal end of it, at the end of the day, the school committee had the position from day one that we are not water experts.
Right.
So even in this meeting tonight, it's tough to sit here, and I'm not suggesting you, but some information shared regarding the health and safety of course, we're not putting kids in. We've shared those test results annually with the air quality test, the asbestos, and all the other, the punchlines to instill fear in people where, most of the buildings we go in and day in and out have asbestos or lead or what have you in them. So I strongly urge you against the deregionalization, but you are committed to this direction, and I would understand it as some type of leverage or frustration. And so I did spend the whole last weekend reviewing every meeting and every conversation, essentially, every correspondence, including many conversations with Jen and Peter and everything else. And I shared all this with the MSBA in that meeting, which you were in attendance, and Dr. DeFalco, you were in attendance, and Jill and others. And where we were when we made the decision to move those kids out of MAS. And where we were at that time is Millville was challenging the ownership of the water. And that went on for another year, and people on the Board of Selectmen were, the anti-water owners were getting thinner and thinner as we went on and Millville denied the ownership of the water. They denied the having to provide the bottled water, denied payments to the to our bulk water that we had delivered. We had Mary Jude come in to us. So these are all, and the day before we made the decision, your water operator, who originally came to us with those concerns, resigned. So we were left in a spot on July 27th with, we don't have enough information to keep those kids there. So that's where we are. Well, where we are today is you have McClure, a stable water operator. Right. You have town meeting votes, Board of Selectmen votes, and assurances. After the Mary Jude is an order that you guys have to provide bottled water until she lifts the order. Jen has presented to us plenty of times, that we're hoping to be able to get it lifted and such like that. So and you funded that order. There was challenges to funding that order up until last town meeting. All right, and you have the million, and so you have the water operator, you're providing the bottled water guaranteed. The letter from the DEP, as I think it was Mr. Stanley stated, the DEP is not going to put themselves at that liability. And you have the $1 million grant. Right. And I kind of am on the same page as Jane over here. It would be phenomenal if you had that permit. I don't know if Representative Soda called me at 45 minutes ago before this meeting and said he talked to Mary Jude. They are expediting doing their best they can to expedite that permit. So that's where we are, from where we were July 27, 2023, and that's where we are today.
You're correct, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Young is correct. I did say that I would vote to put those kids back in, and I will. I will, once we get, once we have, those things are in place. I'm curious on the, what MSBA, essentially, in my opinion, kicked it back to us to say, hey, before you present this to us formally, have another look at it, because this then goes to our legal division, and then it's out of our hands. That's the sense I got from
Yes,
that.
same.
Yeah. And I don't want to jeopardize, because DEP is watching this too, and Mary Jude is not too, is surprised, I'll say, at the decision. And she is also, that's a $1 million grant, and a lot of cities and towns that.
That's the lottery.
Have applied for that.
That's the lottery.
And she did advocate heavily on
Yeah.
behalf of the town of Millville. So, that's just the information I have to this point, so.
And you can understand with an $850,000 clawback, that's a big number for us too. So
If that's the only thing that got clawed back.
that's the point.
Yeah, the DEP is
So
watching closely, so.
they are. So I want to thank you for your time, Mr. Chair, and the conversations we've had. I will stand by my commitment to continue to provide bottled water. Mr. Chair and I will remain in contact, I assume, and we have a very good working relationship. And I think we can reconcile any differences going forward. But I think we're kind of at a point where we've got to make a crucial decision, and it's an uncomfortable one. We all hate it.
I'll just end with this. I've had people in Blackstone advocate to deregionalize this district that I have battled with over the, it's an easy battle.
It's a very easy one.
It's an easy battle for me.
Yep.
It's not even a threat anymore, for me personally. It's just not feasible.
I agree with you.
It's just not feasible. It would only be hurting your people in Millville. Because I would caution you on going down that road, because you may have more advocates from Blackstone on your side.
Yeah.
Fighting that fight for you. So I'd be very cautious.
And I will tell you that Blackstone has, a lot of folks have reached out and advocated for it, but not tipping my hands. I do know what I know, and I'm a pretty good chess player, as you are as well, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I'm well aware of Blackstone's financial position.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of Blackstone's financial position. As a representative of the town of Blackstone, I intend that we remain in that financial position. And there will be no deregionalization. I can promise you that.
The children of this town are not a game to be played.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what's that?
The children of this town are not a game to be played with. So if you want to be a chess player, go up to Boston, get in the park and sit down.
Wrong
But this is
meeting.
not a place to be playing with our children's future.
Oh, I understand that, which is
Thank
why
you.
I'm here, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I thank you, Richard. I appreciate your, advocating for getting the kids back in the building. And I look forward to ending that regional,
Freudian slip.
As far as I'm concerned, that discussion is over. But moving forward and providing safe, clean drinking water has always been the goal. And again, we are not water operators, we are not experts, but we will be taking everything under consideration. I don't know if it's a motion you wanted to make tonight.
So
If you wanted to put it on a.
Certainly, I would
we
like to move to rescind last meeting's vote. I'll start with that.
Regarding.
do anything.
Regarding
the
placement of.
Not to move the children back, and not until there's a pending clawback and 180-day clean water.
Motion made by Jane.
Can you repeat that? Because we can't hear.
It's just, so it's last meeting's vote. I'm just making a motion to rescind it. So if you want me to read the minutes to tell you the exact wording on the vote, I can do that. Is it in here?
It is.
Yeah.
From memory, I can
Do you
tell
have
you.
it?
Page
there-
6.
There was originally a recommendation to table the discussion.
Yes, there was.
And then there was a motion to, the motion was to not send the kids back to Millville. Then I send the kids back.
Page 6.
Yeah.
Page 6.
Then, contingent on the MSBA clawback and the 180-day testing. I think it was.
Okay. So it's, the vote was to not to move students to MES for FY26 pending confirmation from MSBA that there is no clawback on the current boiler loans since we have no test results with the 180-day requirement in place in order to move them. And I am making a motion to rescind that vote.
Motion made by Jane,
So moved.
seconded by Matt. Discussion. I will just say that this vote then will just put us back in a position where it's tabled,
Correct.
pending further information from MSBA and hopefully permitting from the DEP.
And permit.
I believe we'd have to make a motion
Yeah,
to
Mr.
table.
Chair, yeah.
It was
Well,
never.
no, that essentially puts it back to nothing, and then we'd have to go to
Taken-
another.
It puts us back to have taken no action.
Yes. When I say tabling, there's no action. Yeah, that's
no
right.
action.
It'll have to come back up for a vote.
Correct.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Can I have a hand count on the ayes? We got Jane, myself, Aaron, Tara S, Tara L, and Matt. So that's, and nays, hand count by the nays. Okay, so it's 5-3. The vote has been rescinded. I'll take a motion to table the water, the movement of this, movement of the students. I'll take a motion to not take any action on MES until we have further information. Just to table the MES. How am I gonna? I'm
So
not
you
gonna think about
don't,
this.
so Dan, you don't
even to take
need,
a
you don't
motion.
need a motion.
Well, we
There's
don't need to
nothing,
take
there's
any
no
motion at
action
all.
on the table.
That's right.
We can wait till Millville has its permit and
Okay.
we can
Yeah,
make
all
an
right, so
agenda
then
item in the future.
We then, if that's the case, we will propose with some plans and things after that. So the administration still has to be prepared to.
Yes.
We need a date. We need a deadline to make this.
That's right. That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah.
Helping you out.
Yes. Yes. Please come up.
Jessica Barbado, 237 Mendon Street. I'm also a staff member at MES. So my concern is we're tabling this. We have 17 days left of school. And
Yes.
myself, someone who has to pack up a library in that amount of time, like, how is that even possible? Like, the teachers all have to pack up their classrooms and move them yet again.
Yep.
I mean, this is something that has been done over and over through these years, and we're constantly doing it. It takes a long, long time. With 17 days left in the school year, we don't have a decision now. We don't know where we'll be next year. I mean, that's really concerning for us, how this is even going to happen, not knowing.
Yeah,
We are, as a staff, have been moved around so much. Our kids, these kids, I'm looking at our current second grade. They went to kindergarten in Millville, first and second in Blackstone. Now they're gonna, if we go back to Millville, they'll go back for third grade, and then here for fourth grade. I mean, the movement is just really difficult for staff and for the kids. So I think it's really just unfair to move without everything being set and ready to go. There's a huge space issue over in Millville. There's no music room in that plan. Music is happening on the stage. The technology classes will be held in the library. I hold classes in the library too. Like, there's all kind. We're gonna be packed to the brim in that building, where we don't know that you tell me that this water is gonna work. It hasn't happened yet. Nothing has actually happened. Once things have happened, we can plan and get this. 17 days is not enough time for us to be able to move. And I think it's great that the town of Millville has got this money and got the grant to fix the building, okay? But this is not when to do it. We just don't have the time, and it is not fair to put on these teachers again to come in the summer and do this all on their own time, because that was what was done in the first move. And and they did it. Everybody did it and didn't complain, and we did it. We're doing everything. Last year we were in the complex with people in closets. This is exactly what we're facing in Millville. is people are going to be having offices in closets that with not sharing classrooms and or not having classrooms at all. So I mean, it just really seems like a decision that needs to have a lot more thought. And I see that you've tabled this, but the possibility that we're moving this quickly is just really mind-boggling to me as a staff member. And you know, my kids are older in the district, but have been through this district, and I don't know. I mean, I'm really floored that we're revisiting this at this point. When we were here, I was here last week, and you know, that was a big concern, was this time frame. I mean, we don't have much time left in this school year, and the end of the school year is very jam-packed. There's all kinds of things going on, as well as end of year testing. Teachers are really have a lot on their plate right now. And to throw, oh, now you have to pack up your entire classroom for yet another move. I mean, and at this point, we don't even know that, right? I mean, when will that decision actually happen? I mean, I don't know.
I understand your concern, believe me, we understand. But we have other factors in play that could affect the town of Millville. They have compliance with the DEP, and then we have factors with the MSBA, which we just opened it back up, so with the district and the town of Millville, it can be understood so that they're not liable for an $850,000 clawback because of their compliance to this point. So those are the concerns. So all we did is we rescinded the vote that they were not going back there. We don't intend
Okay,
on
no,
taking
I understand that.
Yeah. And that will be taken into consideration as well. That would have a lot to take into consideration
Right.
under
I mean,
this.
it's the time frame. The time frame
Yes.
on this is really concerning.
Yeah, moving in July wasn't favorable. It's not moving. Moving anytime is not favorable. But
No.
yes, I do appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you, Wendy.
Fine if I sit at the table.
Come on over.
Thanks. Wendy Greenstein, 4 Liberty Hill Drive. My daughter is the second grade class. I'm actually trying to process what just happened. As an educator of 24 years, you are experts in education. You're not experts in water. And what is best for the staff that is currently at the math night and can't be here to support or speak about what's going to transpire, I'm a little concerned. They're all there for the children. And right now, a decision that was made 5-3 to table something that is going to impact all of those teachers and staff in our district. So if you're experts at education and experts on these children, that is going to highly impact those teachers. I would request, at the last meeting, there was a plan. And I might not have my numbers correct, but around May 8th, the grant was put in. That was a day before the meeting was supposed to happen on May 9th. It wasn't put in May. It wasn't put in April. It wasn't put in March. It was the day before we were supposed to have a meeting here. We're waiting for that plan. The person that spoke that they brought the other day said this was going to happen in early June. Okay? I don't think any of you committee members are saying that the kids are not going back to Millville. I'm seeing and hearing that they will when everything is in place and the water is moving again. So I want to commend you on that part, that I don't hear it, that they're not going back. And there is a plan in place based off of last week. So my suggestion right now, or my ask of you as an educator, is with 18 days, 17 days left, this is not right to the people that work for you. It's not right for the children. It's not right for the people that are there right now with hundreds of kids at math night making a decision to table something like this. It's not right. You're not a water expert, but you are an educational expert. And I ask you that if you do rescind the vote, that some vote is made that this can't happen until there's a plan in place and next year begins. Because teachers are not there in the summertime contractually. Kids are not there. So how does this happen? There has to be a plan. There's no plan. So I know you're up against the wall, but the perception right now is that you're caving to a threat. And I'm very concerned about that. If you're an expert in education, the education piece is not first right now, because those teachers are there on their own will right now with hundreds of kids, and you're making a decision that is going to impact them and both kids in both communities. My child in second grade has best friends in Millville. If that ever happened, that's the measurable piece. Not whether they go back to Millville or not. If you're gonna deregionalize, what's the measurable piece? Because we're not in a building? There's a plan. You gave the plan last week that June is gonna start the process. So, and I guarantee that this committee will move that plan forward to move them back into the building as soon as something's done. That's it. So I'm really disappointed that it was a 5-3 vote to rescind and table it. I know it wasn't a vote to move them, but when you table it, all of those staff members that are, again, at math night that can't speak for themselves, they're all up in arms. And we've already lost a lot of educators. I don't want to lose any more. We have good educators here, but they're tired. They're tired of all of this. And if you want to, you win, you win. You're moving back. But give us a plan. Just give us a plan. Tell the teachers nothing's happening until this date so they can have a summer to debrief and breathe. And those kids can have a summer. This is not right. This is really not right on the education piece, not the water piece, the education piece and the children piece. So I really would like you to think about that motion that you made and tabling it. If there's a motion that can be made that something can't happen because it physically probably can't happen, these teachers need time. 17 days, that's wild. 24 years teaching, 17 days is wild to make this decision or to table it so that nothing's happening during this time. Those teachers are going to be a mess, and they can't even speak for themselves right now because they're with our children. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you, Wendy. Anyone else? Oh, sure.
This is my first time coming to these meetings.
Come on up.
I watched the meetings, and from what I understand, it was a unanimous vote last time.
If you could come up to
Yeah,
the
you
table.
need to-
Yeah,
See, I told you, I haven't been on it.
that's fine.
Just
Welcome.
so people
Hi,
who might
Facebook.
listen can hear you as well.
Name and town.
So, my name's Jared. I'm a Blackstone resident. I have 3 boys. One of my kids currently goes to the school. One's going next year. So what I understand is everybody voted, and everybody said, "Yeah, this is a good plan. Let's do this." And then we got this guy coming in here, throwing threats around, talking to you personally outside of the place, so nobody really knows what those conversations are. And now we just turned around and took the vote back.
Sure, matter of fact, I'll address that.
Sure.
So, I think we disarmed the threat immediately, because that really has no bearing.
I mean, Big Boy got exactly what he wanted. He's walking back
That
here
doesn't-
winking and
that-
smiling and
that's
cheering
fine.
after you
That's
guys pull your
fine.
vote back.
And so, and we just heard a speaker advocating, and a teacher advocating how difficult it is. And we also have 3,000 residents that fund 25% of this operation that may be potentially asked to be paying back $850,000.
Potentially.
We have a DEP. Well, yeah. Well, you weren't in the meeting with the MSBA, that we had the other day, and so you're in conversations with the DEP. So these are things that this committee has to consider to protect not only the district, but the people who fund the district. So the DEP has made it very clear. I think one of the speakers stated they're not going to allow the children. They're not going to say bottled water and put provisions in if it's not safe for the children. So information has changed from the last vote to this vote. Okay, the vote was contingent on MSBA. We had a meeting with the MSBA. They essentially asked us to go back to the drawing board and reconsider it before it goes to their legal team to make the final decision.
No,
So
did they
that's how
ever-
this works.
did they
So
ever say that they were
myself
gonna claw
talking
back the
with
money?
another chairman of another board, another chairwoman of another board, is in the interest, and it's common, board members talk to the other one, it's in the interest of not having these battles over personalities and that other nonsense, and to get to the root cause of the issue and try to solve it. So nothing that's the business of politics. That's trying to get to one common goal and get these kids, get this district up and running again and functioning, so that we actually do stop talking about water and get back to focus on education. That's how politics, and that's how this all works. It's unfortunate, it would be a lot easier if we could just make decisions and get things done and the personalities weren't involved. And that's what me and the chairman in Millville are just trying to work cooperatively together to get accomplished. So, and again, it was a vote this evening just to rescind it and not to take any further action. And that's the purview of the school committee.
Yeah.
And you're entitled to your opinion and to address the board. That's your right to.
I appreciate being able to address you. It's just when it seems like politics and money go over the education and the kids, that's kind of where the problem comes in.
Yeah, I can assure you that's not happening here.
That's what it seems like.
Yep, well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Can I ask a question then?
Sure.
Our next meeting is June 12th.
Yeah.
We have an entire elementary school full of families and teachers. They just heard that the motion has been rescinded. They have no idea where they now stand. As someone who used to be a classroom teacher, I know how drastically different it is to pack up your classroom for the summer or to pack up their classroom for a move. What are they supposed to expect between now and June 12th? If we say we're just rescinding that motion, we're just treading water right now. Like, we have nothing in place for them.
Well, I agree. So, Jane.
So I am uncomfortable making a next decision until, we have a promise from Millville that this is going forward. We have a promise from the state of $1 million, but we do not have a contract that it's moving. Like, they haven't signed off on it. And so while I think we need to operate in good faith until that grant is approved and the work has started, I also think it would have been great for McClure, a little frustrated, that they didn't study the 48 other places that this water system is at. Yeah, they've never used it before, but people around the country are using it to great success. And I'm frustrated that they did not share that with us as well. But, we need to know that the project is moving, that good faith effort has been made. The DEP has stated that the lawyers will have to decide the clawback issue, which was part of our motion, which really negated the motion. We didn't act on it anyway. We wouldn't have acted on it. It just was worded very oddly. But we wouldn't have been able to give the teachers a decision this week. We wouldn't have. So we're still in the no decision time frame until we have specific information on a project moving forward, and at which time we can make an educated, if we're about being educators, we can make an educated decision.
Mr. Superintendent, do you have anything to weigh in? I'm sorry, Chuck, I'm sorry. Chuck.
The MSBA, they said they know we want to put the kids back there. Yet they're threatening clawback.
No.
Do you want me to share that?
Yeah, go
piece? ahead. The way it was explained to us from the two MSBA reps was that those two reps, who are senior project leaders that we've worked closest with, they don't make that decision. They said once the decision is made by the district to either send the students or not, we would essentially send a letter, and they actually said, we don't need it in the next 2 weeks, but we do need it within 30 days. Once you make your decision and you send it in, they send it to their legal team. And essentially, if their legal team feels as though all the safety provisions that needed to be met were met, then the legal team could make the call to have Millville pay the $850. Do I have that? If I'm saying this wrong, somebody correct me, but this is how I had it in my notes. that the legal team would make the decision and say, Millville, you have to pay the money back. And she said, or maybe not, if they don't feel that it's necessary. But she did say if the safety provisions were being met, that the legal team would make the decision on whether Millville had to start paying back on the grant or not. So she said, why don't the bodies go back and have a discussion and make sure you're positive before you send us anything in writing. That was how she
Are
said
there
it.
a lot of schools in Massachusetts that have to have bottled water?
That I don't know.
You know, and here in Blackstone, they don't have to have bottled water. We asked Millville just to get as soon as they fix their water issue, we would move the kids in. So, like Wendy said earlier, you know, it's as simple as that. And trying to move them on short notice with the teacher situation. You know, maybe we could change, maybe the 180 days, you know, could be modified. We got to make the move someday, whether it's, at some point, the move has to be made. But
If you could just weigh in on the concern of the timing and the move, do you have anything to weigh in on that?
Well, I think and it was said, you know, the longer you wait, the more troubling it is as far as, and we're almost at the end of the year, as we've heard, the more troubling it is for the educators to have to pack and do all the things that are required of that. So not making a decision is also a big issue because now you've got, Carrie, to your point, June 12th. At that point, I think it's a week until the end of the school year is done. And you've got people really panicked at that point. Making a decision in, you know, July or August, we've done that before. And there was a lot of, I don't know, panic, but concern and worry and people trying to get back from vacations and come in and pack and hiring the movers and all of that. One of the things that the committee did in the last meeting was took a vote to not do something. The committee could take a vote to do something if certain things were met. So you could make a motion to move the kids back if certain things were met, certain provisions were met. We took it as a kind of a negative, I don't mean negative as like nasty, I just mean negative vote the last time in terms of not to. But you could take an affirmative, you could make an affirmative vote if the board decided to do that, that we would move the kids for school year 25-26 by this date if these things are in place so teachers could start to prepare now so they're not in this panic mode and they're not left in a lurch wondering. Jane, you mentioned something, and I think your frustration is shared definitely by me and I'm sure others. The technology is new to Millville and to Mass DEP. It's not new technology. It's being used in other places. So perhaps having some of that information would have been very helpful. It doesn't help us now, but that would have been something that would have been good for that conversation that evening. That might have allayed some concerns that the community had or has. But it is possible for the board to take an affirmative vote to say, we would consider moving the kids back. We will move the kids back if these things are in place and we have this level of, you know, water quality results by this said date, and then teachers can prepare for that. They could pack their rooms. They could do the things they need to do now in preparation. And then worst case scenario, there's not a move because certain targets aren't met, but the stuff is still there. But if there is, it's already packed, right? And then you pull the trigger and you can move the things. I'm just trying to find an off-ramp to all of this for everybody.
Yeah, Wendy, come on up. Yeah, come on up.
If the committee does decide to make a vote, because I'm thinking as a teacher right now, as an educator, and you submit a plan to MSBA and say, here's our rollout. Grades 1 and 2 go in November, grade 3 goes in December. If, in fact, the water is met, because the rollout's supposed to happen in June, so water gets fixed in June, teachers have their summer, they know what's coming in November, it's a slow transition from one grade to the next grade to that. Yes, it's going to be a lot of work for the new superintendent who we don't have, but the teachers know. And a big angst with teachers is the unknown. And to leave it on the table right now is an unknown. And trying to decide right now what's best, we're not water operators. We need to promise our educators and our staff, because that's who work for you. So if there was a rollout plan, okay, because everybody knows we just want the water fixed, kids can go back. I do believe that this committee believes that. I do see that. If there was a rollout plan where, you know, those breaks, those natural breaks in education in December and in February, whatever the situation is, it will appease Millville selectmen that the kids are going back. The water is going to be fixed. And the teachers will know what's coming.
Can prepare.
Yeah, a progression. But right now, we don't know when it's going to start. We don't know we don't know anything. We're talking about we don't know. So if you make a motion and you want to make a motion to send the kids back, I urge you, for every educator in this district and every staff that works here, that you give them a rollout, that nothing's going to happen until December or nothing's going to happen until November. So they can say, okay, I can slowly but surely teach 25, 28 kids and pack up my room and not stay here till 8 o'clock at night or leave this district. So there's got to be something. We can't just table it. It really is not in the best interest of the Millville people or the Blackstone. We can't just rescind it and then hope next week there comes up. If you rescind it and you decide next week, all I'm asking is to promise the educators that work underneath you in the district that there's a plan that those kids will roll out next year, whatever that next year is. But you got to think of those kids. You got to think of those teachers and everybody, because whether you're a Millville selectman or a Blackstone selectman, they're doing everything for the citizens who can't vote for their representative. And I really think that you got to think about that. So I just ask that there's got to be a plan. Like if you promise them that nothing will happen and, you know, the water will happen, fine. But you got to have a plan. You can't just keep tabling it, because the angst is really, I'm anxious, and I'm not even a teacher in this district. And I'm thinking, my child who came back and went, thank God she's the fourth child, she'll deal. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And there's a lot of planning. And again, you're in a superintendent search. So who's going to do it? So just plan it, please.
Thank you, Wendy. And Mr. Young, you'll be the last one to engage if you want to, so the committee can then just.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So I keep hearing everyone talking about fixing the water. What exactly is the problem with the water if Mass DEP says there's nothing wrong with it? Like if they're deeming that the water is safe,
Nobody
what's the
deemed
problem
the water
with
was
it?
safe. Nobody has deemed that the water is safe.
The Mass DEP is essentially the bottled water is.
So a bottled water order is in effect until certain levels of things come down, correct?
Yes.
Right? And we just received $1 million grant to fix this, right? And so you guys, the school committee, maybe some of you were here and some of you weren't here in '23, but you guys are the ones that made the decision when Mass DEP didn't make any recommendation to move the kids, correct? Did Mass DEP make a recommendation to move the kids out of Millville Elementary?
They don't have the authority. So that's.
But
so
what
that's
I'm
one of
saying
the-
is
that's
that
one of
they
the talking
deem that the
points
water is
that-
unsafe.
Yeah, that's one of the talking points. The Mass DEP doesn't have the authority to move the kids.
But
So
would-
what Mass DEP was saying is they have to provide bottled water. Millville was refusing to take ownership of the water and things like that at the time, and the water operator resigned the day before. That's what drove the decision.
So this is all over who was going to provide bottled water to the school when DEP said there needs to be a bottled water order put in place, or they put a bottled water order in place? So this is all over who was going to pay for some bottled water. So we packed up an entire school.
No, it's not that simple.
No.
It's not.
Well,
it's
that's
not
what
that
I'm just saying. I'm asking you
Yeah.
to explain that to me.
Yeah, so I explained it earlier. They had, without beating this up again, they had a water operator hired by the town of Millville that came to the district issuing concerns of health issues, potential health issues, and this and that. We went through it all, and then they had another expert that came hired by the town of Millville that disputed. You had Mr. Ferrari, Dr. Gullick, and so there was a tremendous amount of uncertainties. DEP's like, you got to provide bottled water. there was challenges. Millville challenged they even owned it. I just went through this with Richard. Then challenges that they weren't going to pay for the bottled water. And then the day before our vote, the water operator quit. So Millville essentially was dead in the water. And so out of the unknown and fear of, because we are not water operators, we then made the decision to move those kids.
Okay,
And that's how
gotcha.
that all came about.
Gotcha.
And then I explained where we are now, which complies
So now moving
with,
forward,
with the
moving
request.
forward, there's $1 million grant. That money's, I'm being told, is there, right? Paperwork, whatever. The new system is available. It's waiting for paperwork to pass, whatever it needs to be. I have no idea. This is what I'm being told. I've heard other people that have degrees in this background of water talking about flow of the school, right? Correct? So now administration is there, right? There's not enough flow through the building to get accurate testing, to keep the pumps moving, whatever it may be, to cycle the water through and the chemicals and everything that they put in, the chlorine or whatever it may be, to eliminate, right? But if the $1 million grant is there to fix this, I mean, and we might be possibly facing as taxpayers a clawback, which we don't know. I mean, it just seems like it was a panic to move the kids. Why didn't someone just provide bottled water? Then neither one of the towns would be sitting here having
That's
this
right.
discussion.
You're
like
right.
if
And
there
they-
was
and
just
they
some
didn't.
bottled water
Yeah.
provided to begin with, said, hey, we're just going to step in until we figure this
It got
out.
beyond the bottled water because we weren't all water experts.
Yeah, but I'm saying but I mean, we can't just make a decision and say, hey, we're
Can
going
I
to get
just
bottled
clarify
water.
one part of that, please?
just-
We bought trucked water, and I was the chair at the time. We trucked in water. Then we got in trouble from the Mass DEP because it was not an approved company to the Mass DEP. We bought it, we paid for it. Millville would not pay for it, but it was our quickest solution. This started in February of that school year, not June 27th. That it wasn't a, oh my God, let's move the kids.
Yeah.
This issue started in February when the water was yellow and it was being used to cook. Maybe they were drinking it, maybe they were not, because, well, they weren't, because we had not drank it for about 5 years. But we, the school district, did pay for trucks of water to fill the tanks. We weren't using the well. It wasn't being treated. It wasn't working. What with the millions of dollars that Millville has paid for 15 plus years to treat that water already, which was causing the problems in the water. The chemicals were too high to be consumed. We'd get a notice, we'd have to turn the water off. Kids would bring their own bottled water. It's been that way 15 plus years. The issue became that February to June when we were paying for water, but Millville should have been financially responsible for that. We were doing it. It didn't matter who paid for it. Dr. DeFalco said, we're paying for the water. We need the water. There was no stop in that part while the school year was in place. The issues became more intense at the end of June. The water operator was not being paid by the town of Millville. There's other stuff that people don't know here on why he actually quit. They wanted him gone, or maybe they didn't because they hadn't increased the payments for years, but they stopped paying him. He did quit the next day after he came to us and showed us what was really going on with the water. We had not, that was brought to us in a public meeting.
Was it being treated at the time?
So
He was having trouble treating
If I can
it.
just to move this along,
Yeah.
we were very justified to move the students back then. And one of the first things we did is because MSBA at the time was well aware of it, so to ensure that Millville wouldn't be put on the hook for that. And so and all these meetings are televised. There's plenty of documentation to it, and I think the committee and the town of Millville has come a long way since then. Like where we are now is a far cry from where we were in that July and in January, February when we really had the issue that led to, when the town's water operator came to us concerned about certain health concerns. We aren't water operators. It was very concerning to us. So. Our to move was very justified. We're at a position now where we're considering now with everything going on, and I think the committee itself is in favor, we're all in favor of getting those kids back there. And to Jane's point, we'd like to see permitting, and we'd like to see a plan moving forward to give the teachers and the students and parents time for that move. But I was not anticipating a reconsideration on this whatsoever tonight. I thought it was just going to be a discussion. So
So we're going to put this behind us this summer? We're going to figure this out and put this behind
I
us?
think we're almost there.
Towns and
I'll be
everybody?
honest with you, and the chairman, I think we're pretty much there. The permitting, I'm confident in the system, although I'm not a water expert, but based on the other water experts and the use and the 40 other
He said, too,
states.
He operates the
Yeah,
same system.
so, and I'm familiar with him he's on the Water Sewer Commission in Blackstone still, correct? Huh? Okay, so, so I mean, we're in the right direction. I'm sorry, Erin.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
We aren't even waiting for the permits yet. We're waiting for the state to approve, and Jen, please correct me if I'm wrong.
We're waiting for the permits.
The state has to approve.
No, just the permit. It's out for permitting right now.
Peter said at Monday's meeting, we don't have agreement documents from the state.
Correct.
We have the award, but no agreement documents.
They haven't even actually agreed to use the system. They've gotten promises, Dan. They're waiting, and that was what was submitted May 8th or 9th, whatever the day before our meeting was. Once that is done, they can apply for the permits, they can order the supplies. There is not a true timeline of June. So I just wanted to go back to what Wendy just recommended, like you were told, we were not, I was just reading through our minutes. June is a hope. It is not a guarantee. The state has to, and he said it could take up to 45 days. 45 days from May 8th for the state to approve it. And everyone's, Mary Jude Pigley's is trying to move it along. Everyone's saying they're trying to move it along. The state has to approve that system first, then the permits will be applied for, equipment would be ordered. They said it would come very quick. He said, hopefully by the beginning of June. I'm not ready to make a decision on a tentative, we'll move them back in these steps when we don't have that yet. That is what we need to be able to say, this is our plan for the fall.
Mr. Chairman, could you address that, please? Is it a permit or is it, thank you, Mr. Young.
My understanding is it's an award letter, which is a contractually binding document from the state. So although we haven't finalized the committal documents, we do have a contractually binding letter. So they made the promise, they can't walk it back.
Mr. McClure was here and he said he submitted the permitting. I thought, maybe, did I misunderstand?
That's what I understood it too.
understood too.
Yeah, I wasn't here for
supplied the permit, they submitted the permit on May 7th.
Yeah, I
and it's a
thought we were
60-day
waiting for permit
it's-
approval.
and Representative Soto, who talked to DEP today, said she was expediting the permit.
Yeah, so there's a lot of documentation. So first, the initial award letter. So yes, we absolutely have the $1 million. So then there's additional forms that come, and that's actually more financial based, like so we can get reimbursed and things like that. So that is going through right now. The Mary Jude was unavailable last week, so she was on vacation. So I've been emailing her like little stalkerish, to be honest. I don't know if she's mad at me, and was asking like, hey, what's going on? And she just emailed me right before this meeting and said, hey, I'm sorry, we'll catch up tomorrow. So in terms of her being able to expedite things, so when we initially put in the request, just to give you an idea of how she is able to expedite things, when we put in the paperwork originally for the grant, we waited a week, we hadn't heard anything. I reached out to Mary Jude, and Senator Fatman, I think, reached out to her as well. And within 3 days, we had a response like, hey, you're missing these 2 things. So that made them look at it. So once Mary Jude gets someone to look at something, it's 2 or 3 days. So I'm going to call her tomorrow to find out about where the status is for the permitting process. So.
But it's the permitting process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which includes.
There's two, there's one around the getting everything set up financially for reimbursement.
Yeah.
That's in process. And then there's one for the actual permitting. And as McClure said, Chris McClure said, that they already spoke with the vendor and they have it. Like it's on the dock.
Yeah,
They're
it takes a
just
couple
waiting
weeks
for
to
us
get
to
it.
order it, and it takes 5 to 10 business days for it to arrive here.
And keep in mind, you still have bottled water.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's the only thing I wanted to make clear is that regardless of the status of this water system, and it would be very beneficial to have the students in the school to make sure it works. We are providing bottled water for all of next year. There is no risk exposure. There's no threat exposure. They're having the bottled water for cooking and drinking for all of next year.
And we've ensured that it's budgeted appropriately, and we have a line item for it.
Yeah. Like even if if they say the water's okay, they put it in, say, June 15th. And from June 15th to October 15th, it runs perfectly. Everything's been synced. If you still want bottled water November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, you will still have bottled water for those months, even if the water system is fine. We've already voted for that and budgeted for it.
Hi, Tara, you had a question?
Oh, no, I didn't know if you were open to saying what was missing. You said something's missing for the permit? Application?
No, so nothing is missing.
Okay.
It's all being worked through a bureaucratic process, which
I
they
think-
don't go fast. It's not like private sector.
I think
works.
when you said you had reached out to her and there was a couple of details
so
on the
that was on
application.
the original
which is
grant
typical.
document.
Yeah.
I don't know what was missing. So this was pre-approval, pre-April 8th approval. Like when we put it in, they said, hey, and I don't know if it was missing or something. There was additional information or correct. I don't know exactly what it was. This was like in February, but there were 2 or 3 things that were maybe it was missing information, maybe it was more information,
clarifying. Okay.
more something. And then we got it back, and then it went, okay, now you're completely in the process to get the original $1 million grant.
Okay, and Mr. Stanley, did you want to, you're our local water,
I just wanted to speak quickly to the.
you guys just come up real quick, just closer so we can catch you on the mic.
Jake Stanley, 6B Middle Street. Just to speak quickly to the permitting process through DEP, it's a process. So right now, at the initial permitting process, there's a lot of back and forth review within the DEP Central Region. That's what you're experiencing right now. It is not a fast process. To speak to what they're going to probably want to do is, it's a kind of a living document. They're going to tell you that they want to see X, Y, and Z. And they're going to follow through with you through the entire installation process and the initial treatment. And there's actually, nothing is finalized until the last day when they actually physically come in, check out the treatment system, review all of your sampling data for upwards of a year, and then give you the final signature that it's all good to go. So this is going to be going on for a while. It's not just they're going to sign off on it and we run and we'll never hear from them again. So just be prepared for that. As far as the rollout goes, this permitting process now is kind of where you can sort of figure out, to your point, rolling it out as a positive. Like we're not just voting yes, no, open it up. You folks should be voting in a process to take the educators into mind, take the water into mind, and make it all jive. That's what you have to do. It can't just be a hard, fast yes or no. If you're going to say yes, they're going back, you say, we're going to do it this way. If we see this by this date, this by this date, students start on this date, students start on this date. So the educators have time. It can't be in 2 weeks you say, yeah, you're all going back in the fall. That's going to screw your educators. Everyone's going to quit. So that's just me speaking as a resident, hearing from the educators out here. That's just unfair. But there is a way to do this properly, and I think you all see that. And through the conditional permitting of the DEP system, they'll want to see sampling happen through the school year. And if that means you're getting students back through the school year in a staged, planned, thought-out process that doesn't put a burden on anybody, everybody wins. And that's what we all want, right? So that's the end of my.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
All right, now it's back to the school committee. I think we've got plenty of input from the public. So, what's the pleasure? We revisit this again with right now it's on hold. So revisit this again with a plan. Mr. Superintendent, would we be rolled out or in phases? What's the suggestion here?
Well, if we did it by grade throughout the fall into the early winter, I definitely hear what folks are saying. My worry is the grade level, the teacher, the students that start and they're in the, one building for 2 months, 3 months, and then they're packing and moving in November or December. I don't know that that's any better, from that perspective. But it is an option. The other option is to make a decision to move the grade span back that was brought forward at the last meeting, which was K-3, with certain provisions in place, and then looking at what those conditions might be. So there was a bottled water commitment. It could be a matter of looking at certain results. From what I'm hearing and what I have understood about the system itself, it is supposed to remedy the water issues fairly quickly. So it might be a matter of looking at, I'm making up the numbers, I'm not suggesting this, but 6 weeks of results once the system's installed. And if those results are good and they're meeting all the standards appropriately, then that may be enough, considering that bottled water has been approved already and is in place. That could be a direction that the school committee might want to go, or not. That's up to the committee.
Another direction could be actually making a motion to table it to a certain date so the teachers aren't living under this anguish of, is it next week? Is it in the middle of my summer? If we were to say September 1st, that gives Millville plenty of time for their permit and their installation. And there's nothing saying after that, then we decide to move. We don't have to wait until next summer. They can be moved in stages later in the school year. But I, again, wouldn't see why we'd make that decision tonight. We don't have new information on the dates of the process. That's all. That's definitely something we wanted a week ago.
Jane.
Do we, and I am trying to think outside the box, so please don't implode. Do we have the ability to have a plan in place? In other words, we want to see action being taken in the installation part. We want to see 6 weeks of clear water testing with the plan to move the students for the fall. But do we have the ability to say, because we don't want teachers to come back in the summer and have to move. That was not appropriate for them. Do we have the ability to say, we're going to start the elementary school 1 week late and give that first week? Don't have the teachers come back a week early. Give that first week for the teachers to come back in. And they could start packing up now, knowing that that's potential, but move the first week and extend the school year 1 week for the elementary kids in June. It's just outside the box.
Yeah, the committee could certainly adjust the calendar as they see fit. The other option could be is you could make an affirmative vote to move the kids so teachers can pack and prepare and be ready.
Correct.
And then, like I said, worst case, once the system's in, if the results are not what the school committee is looking for, they would just stay.
Right.
So that nothing gets moved until, but at least it would be packed and ready.
I guess I'm thinking about from someone who moved to one building last summer and has to move back across half of a state this summer. Even if I were packed up, the idea that somebody's just going to move them into my room and then I have to do something when I get back from summer vacation is daunting to me. Nobody's going to be there to set it up for me. So I guess I'm thinking in terms of, I like the idea of having that plan to move. We're going to move the kids, provided we have these XYZ things. But I still, as that teacher, want some time to get my room ready. Might not have to be a week, but I'm just like.
Aaron.
So what would be different in voting in the affirmative tonight than last Tuesday?
The people can pack. And they assume they're moving.
What part of that
Last week it was
are we all comfortable with saying we're going to move? What information is different? What was presented tonight that's different than last Tuesday?
So what criteria would we?
Not criteria. I wasn't even the one that asked for the 100. But what is different? Does anyone have an answer? I don't know.
So you're saying what information?
What is making the recommendation different?
I think the information that is different is the discussion that happened with MSBA and DEP that says there needs to be a very clear plan in place. And we're giving you 30 days and then that's going to legal. And I think we should be in control of that plan versus DEP and MASB.
So why can't our plan be that with those provisions all met in the fall of 26, the students will be back at MES? Does it have to be school year 25, 26?
That's putting it back in the hands of the MSBA.
Lawyers.
But if we're presenting them a plan, because we know this work is being done, then our plan is to be back in the building next year, is what you're saying.
Right, like it's voted on and that is the plan. I really feel for the families and the staff. Because even if we were to say, give them that first week, now we're talking about the families with our youngest learners who are now saying, okay, my older kids are going back to school, but now I need childcare for my youngest kid. There's just so much upheaval in all of that. No, I know. I know.
So I know our, Wendy mentioned, I'm not even sure if this is allowed. Wendy mentioned that our teachers are all at Millville, which they are. The union president is texting me now, and I said I'd be happy to share her thoughts.
Oh.
If that's allowed.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what the rules
It is
are.
now. It's public information.
Yeah.
As soon as you announced it, so.
Well, I have nothing to hide. So she said we all spend time unpacking when we return in August on our own time. We either unpacked from boxes or we unpacked from the closets that all things were put in. I'd rather pack my room into boxes and have it ready to be moved in August than be told in November that I'm moving. Mm-hmm. That's crazy with report cards. It's also mid-year testing, parent conferences. That would not work well. So I think what Kathy's saying is they would rather pack now and have their stuff ready to go.
Because they already anticipate
and be ready to go. They're going to pack their rooms anyway. It would be better to pack them and have the boxes ready to move.
For the first day of school.
For the first day of school, is how I'm understanding that.
Well, I'm going to reiterate where I stand. After researching everything throughout the weekend, we gave specific criteria on July 27th, 2023, to the town of Millville. The town of Millville has met that criteria. I know we took another vote in February of 2024, which was under the current treatment that they were trying to get under control. We added the caveat of 180 days. The 180 days in this, with the tremendous amount of oversight that'll be handled by the DEP on this matter, we don't really have the authority on the 180 days because they're going to when they lift that bottled water mandate, they're declaring that the water is safe to cook and drink with. So I would like to have some plan in place. I don't want the decision to come from the Mass School Building Authority. And put the burden. I mean, it's been a hell of a battle the last 2 years, but you know, I don't want that burden on the taxpayers of the town of Millville. They have met the criteria with the bottled. It was a heavily battled and debated criteria. I don't know if that was shared with the committee. The last DEP from Mary Jude on May 1st to the town of Millville that. We meet the safety requirements as long as they provide bottled water for cooking and drinking. So
that was the worry, if I could add, that I had with the MSBA meeting.
Yes,
was they were very clear that if the safety provisions were met, and I believe that was the actual language that was used.
Yeah.
The legal team at MSBA would make the decision on what would happen to the $850,000 grant we got for the boiler system at Millville. That, I think, caused, a reason to pause, and then that was followed up with, you should go back and have another conversation and make sure you're sure this is what you want to do.
When we checked in we notified them last year, and they approved it because of the situation, and that email was, notify us next year if anything. It said it right in the MSBA responded that we agreed to this with the anticipation that the
kids will be back in the school 25-26. That was
26.
sent on August 7th, 2024 from Jennifer Flynn from MSBA.
And yet, here we are. No time to, it's still not in place.
I know.
There is a plan, which is amazing, fantastic, but
there are things in place.
That's
There's bottled water in place, which wasn't there before.
But what if we are the 1% that this water treatment does not work for us? And then we're talking about pulling them out again? There's no guarantee without any test results yet.
We're still in the same place we were last Tuesday. And now the way we've changed our conversation sounds like we're more worried about $850,000 on the backs of ourselves than the students and the staff that are moved out of that building. We have always said safety first. We said it with water. We say it with everything that we do for the students. I am completely comfortable with bottled water. Never haven't been. I'm completely comfortable with filtered water that passes the tests. But to ask any of us to change our mind based on a financial, our conversation last week was all about safety. Every parent that was here brought up worrying about their kids washing their hands. We all hear the data. We know what it says. You're still going to go to bed at night and worry. And if, God forbid, anyone in our town has something come up in years to come, or someone, a staff member, they're always going to wonder in the back of their mind if that's where it stemmed from. And I can't believe we're sitting here saying money first, because that's never been our direction, ever. But that is what this conversation sounds like tonight. It's not, and nor are the threats of, we've been threatened of de-regionalized before. It takes forever. We'll be back in the school before it happens. Nor are the threats are different tonight, and the talk about the money is different tonight. But we have no answers on, or approval if it's a permit. If I'm incorrect, I apologize for that. I did find it in the minutes that is what they said they're waiting for. We don't have it, and that's what we said we wanted last Tuesday. And I don't think we are in the wrong for standing our ground and protecting the kids and the staff with the stress of a move or the dangers of the reason we took them out of there.
I'll just gonna respond that the conversation was about the money on the first vote. It was actually in the motion.
It wasn't.
It was in the motion. So we've clarified. I'm just gonna try to wrap this up here. And we clarified. I don't know. We are not water operators. We're not water experts. The regulators of the water in Massachusetts has made it very clear that if they do X and Y, the building is safe. The town of Millville funded X and Y and are guaranteed to provide X and Y. So the safety aspect of it has been cleared by the state of Massachusetts. We are not at that level. We made that was our argument the whole time. We were given differing diagnoses of this water system by two experts originally hired by the town of Millville, which caused that move, which was one of the initial causes of the move. The water situation provided to the district and owned by the town of Millville has been secured and is deemed safe by the state regulators. The $850,000 was put in the motion by the school committee that would be what would generate the reconsideration of the move. So, the safety issue is I think has been well addressed.
Can I have
Mr.
one, please?
Superintendent.
I only mentioned the money thing because the school committee sent me to go meet with MSBA to get an answer on the clawback. That's the only reason I'm mentioning it. It's not because money's in front of safety. I was asked
at no time
to meet
was
with
it?
MSBA and get the answer for the committee, so I'm just sharing the answer that I got.
And what timeline did MSBA say on that call? They said come back.
They said you had
In
about
30
30. They said you had about 30 days.
Okay. So our next meeting is
June 12th.
June 12th.
Teachers
That's less than 30 days from now, and it's also beyond the dates that they expected to hear back on their permits.
I'm sorry, the next date is.
Our next school committee meeting.
Yep, is.
Is June 12th.
Yep. And what did
And
you-
that's well within 30 days of this conversation.
Yes, yep.
And last week, McClure told us that they would hope to be even starting this, installing it in June. I think we'll have more answers at that meeting than we do 10 days later from our last vote. June 12th, we should be hearing the permit was approved and the items are ordered.
Yeah, it's possible. It's the pleasure of the board. Now you have,
Can we make it contingent?
Yes,
We
let's-
plan on moving the kids back for September, contingent on the filtration being installed and operable.
Water results.
the short answer to that is yes. Yes, but I think that's what you're getting at. Is
That's
the
what I'm
teacher-
saying. You could make an
Yeah.
affirmative so
Yeah.
so teachers can prepare.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then their things are there and they're in boxes and they just unpack them and stay in their space. But you could, the school committee, if you decided to, you could make an affirmative move like that to say.
I'm
what
gonna
you said, Joe.
I'm gonna allow Selectwoman Anderson if you can make it quick so we can. We're in the middle of trying to.
You say it's not money should not be a factor in this, but you know, a good portion of our town are relying on pensions, and we do have a good portion who are below the poverty line or at the poverty line. So money is a huge factor. It's a difference of making sure that our citizens can get to the next meal. In addition, it's also a factor that the families who will be affected by this, if the clawback happens, that they can afford food too.
Thank
So
you.
it is a factor. Please be aware of that.
We are. We're very much aware. Thank you. And that ends any more engagement. I apologize, Aaron.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's listen. We got to stop making this about personalities, all right? And we're trying to come to a common ground here to get something accomplished. Aaron, don't. Well, you.
I'm not going
I
to.
got you. I respect that.
So
So the idea is we can come up with a motion contingent on.
I would like to make that motion that we plan on moving the kids back for the 25-26 school year, contingent upon the
Installation.
the installation of the new water filtration system with
results.
with clear results, or just that it works. The system is working.
That it meets the standards that's set by Mass DEP.
Okay. You got that, Aaron? Sorry, Tara. Yeah.
Move students back for the 25-26 school year contingent on installing water treatment system with operating results.
Clear results
with
that
positive-
meet
yeah,
the
with positive
Mass
results.
DEP standards.
So move students back for the 25-26 school year contingent on installing water treatment system with clear results
Yeah.
meeting DEP standards.
Okay, and I'll just say.
But the filtration system is installed and
Yep.
and works as it, advertised as.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said
When's our
Which
meeting?
will.
The DEP is
I got where you-
passes
I know
the
where you're
water
going,
as
Jake.
is.
I know where you're going.
It's gonna take time to get solid results, but
Right.
operable is the word you want.
Yeah, operable, a substantial completion, type of thing. Because they are still providing the bottled water, like no matter what. So that, and even I think when it's up and running and potentially producing results, the requirement of bottled water may stay there for a short period of time.
Well, it's staying
while
for the
that-
whole year.
It's staying for the
Staying
whole year.
for the
But
whole
it's already
year.
been guaranteed.
Regardless of the requirement from Mass DEP, we will provide bottled water for the entire school year.
Yep.
Even if they lift the requirement and say you don't need to provide bottled water anymore, we have voted and will provide it for the whole school year.
Yep.
Even if Mass DEP says we don't have to. So there is no risk exposure at all for the next school year.
So we can even wait the 180 days.
So moving them back contingent on an operable water treatment system being installed? Is it simple as that?
Yes.
Won't
So
have-
not
By-
getting results then?
What's the name of the system?
Operable but not
The filtration
confirmed
system?
effective?
Anyone
It's
know?
only gotta be one. Oh, you do?
Yeah, I actually have it. Just give me 1 minute.
Installation of the
Give me 1 second.
water filtration system.
And what date?
that
I think we
becomes
still need to have the
operable
date
and
here.
meets
Yeah,
the
that's
standards
the
of
first
the
day of
Mass
school.
DEP.
Because
The staff is still.
When's our meeting before the first day of school?
What is the first day of August 28th?
But like Kathy said.
I'm just looking to see if I can
she would
find
rather
it.
pack mountains.
We don't need to put the name of the water
Okay,
system in.
all right.
Yeah, we don't need to put the name of the water system in the motion.
First day of school is August 27th.
Yeah. Our meeting in August.
Let me pull
that.
Make sure.
But it seems to me that we
Way it's
need,
worded.
so we need a date by which it needs to be up and operating. And so I would say August 1st. Is that okay, Chuck? If
Operable by
August 1st,
August 1st.
Because
That's
I mean-
plenty of time, I think.
right? Otherwise,
Well, it needs to be, I was, by August 1st would be construction, or installation. I mean,
but they said last week it doesn't,
Said it was like 2 weeks.
it was
to
like
install
2
it,
weeks
right?
to put it and get it started.
okay.
They said
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
next
but
day,
even to
immediate
install it
clean
wasn't.
water.
That's what
Hold on.
Wasn't the
That's what
original
they- yeah,
timeline
that's
like
what they
July
said.
31st, the system would be in?
I think
Did I hear that?
Closing seems reasonable, yes, Tara, I think you're right. I believe he said, based on the extended time frame, they're expecting to get in August 1st.
So that'd be the latest, but he was
If that
hoping.
changes, I'll email him tomorrow and then see if that's reasonable. I think what you're proposing seems reasonable.
The chairman, didn't he say that we'd see immediate clear results?
Yeah, we're trying to
well,
wonder
yeah.
how long it will take. So if they get a permit and they can start early June, which is what their hope, I guess what we're missing is how long it would actually take to install and run.
And that's expecting to get a contractor to come in and do the work that quickly?
I understood they were all in
That was
place.
part of their timeline, I
That
think,
was,
right?
I understood. But I guess my concern is if we don't have a date at which we, and maybe we, I don't know. But it's just as bad the other way. I'm the bus district, and am I picking kids up and delivering them to Millville, or am I picking kids up? I mean, it's different routes, it's different everything.
Yeah.
And I don't want to wait till August 27th to find that. I realize, or if I'm a parent, where am I driving my child to? I feel like we need kind of a time frame of which this ultimate decision is made. Does that make sense?
Depending on which, when you just said transportation, depending on which school the buses are going to, does that also stagger start times differently? Will that need to be adjusted anywhere?
It shouldn't. 'cause
No,
if
I
They're
think
all
no.
going. It shouldn't.
Because I think that came up last week, because preschool's already later.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it would be
School
fine.
doesn't have
It's just
buses.
it's just routing.
It's just the routing, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't affect us.
Yeah.
I'll just throw this out there. Oh, I'm sorry, Tara.
Go ahead.
I'd more make it more that if it's only a few weeks to get it up and running, that contingent on construction being underway by August 1st. Because we still have the bottled water, and like I think it was Mr. McClure that said, the first drop's going to come out clean,
Right.
and that's all going to get tested and go through a series of scrutiny. I'm sure heavy scrutiny in this state because it's the first of its kind. So
I'm okay with that.
the
but it's
assurances is the
Chuck's
bottled
motion,
water.
so-
That's the big hurdle. That was the biggest hurdle out of this whole thing. And then the ownership
You're
of
right.
So with substantial work done by August 1st?
Yeah. That the project is under, as I said, the project is under a way of.
Can I amend his motion already? Does it have to be?
Did he ever
It
finish his
hasn't been
motion?
seconded.
It hasn't been
You can amend
seconded.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still a motion in progress. Go ahead.
Can I make a motion then?
Yep.
Or- okay.
So Chuck didn't get a second?
Covered
Okay,
the motion.
go ahead, Matt.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion to move the students to the physical Millville Elementary School in school year 25-26, contingent upon installation and operation of said water system, and that the installation construction is we're undergoing installation and construction by 8/1/25.
8/1/20 what? 5.
25, August 1st.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a motion by Matt. At least give
Second.
Chuck the opportunity to second it.
Yep.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that vote is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 2. All right, moving on. MSBA update, Tara. Oh, Jason.
Nope, so for the high school, so for the school building project, Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So the MSB update is around the building project. So we have some very important meetings. So those folks tuning in, coming up, we have next Wednesday at 5 p.m. here, May 28th. We have the following week, June 4th, 5 p.m. also here, and then 12 or June 12th, we will have a 5 p.m. meeting here as well. They are joint meetings between the school building committee and the school committee to start talking about grade alignment, grade configuration, so that we actually have a solid plan for the schematic, preliminary schematic design that needs to be submitted in August. So just putting that out there for folks. We'll be posting tomorrow our agenda for both the school building committee and the school committee for next Wednesday's joint meeting.
And that's at 5.
Yes. So lots to come, and we'll start looking at some different grade configuration scenarios and very high level, like macro level costs, potential costs for renovation, addition, and new construction.
I think did we all get surveys?
Yes.
Some people get them twice.
Oh, I only got one.
Oh. Okay.
And the ed programming survey, thank you, Jane, has gone out to the school building committee and is going out to the staff to get feedback from the educators in the classrooms, how they envision their space actually being designed to maximize their instructional programming. So at an exciting time with that. So the idea is to take these surveys, the discussions around grade configuration and alignment, to which at some point we will have the public weigh in on that formally, and the school committee vote and the school building committee vote on whatever the preferred schematic design will be as it relates to the grade configuration, i.e. grade configuration. So, yeah.
And just an update to our members, our Millville Board of Selectmen rep, Joseph Baker, he resigned, stating that he couldn't be neutral due to the vote that we had last week about the Millville water situation. So Rachel Anderson is now the Board of Selectmen rep for the school building committee.
Can you notify him that we reconsidered the vote and reconsider being the rep?
Based on his comments, I think that's perfectly fine.
Oh, boy, Dan.
Thank you, Tara and Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Strategic plan, blueprint, 25 to 20.
Yes, I'm going to ask Mary Colanino to just join us for a minute if there are any questions. There may not be any questions. We've been over this repeatedly, but Jill, I don't know if you have anything you want to add on.
No, again, we've had the opportunity, like we said before, to meet, to offer the community come to give us some input. So we have done that, and we'll consider that after, this for developing our action plan.
We didn't vote last week because
we didn't have it.
We didn't have it in your packets, so we just moved it forward. So we need a motion from the school committee to approve the strategic plan for 25 through 28.
Did you get Tootsie Rolls?
I didn't. You want them? I'm happy to share.
The floor is yours.
I gave do you have any questions about?
We have any
It's in your
questions?
packet.
I know we went over this the last.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so.
We're good.
I
appreciate the work and effort that went into it.
Thank you.
And I
group effort.
appreciate that I can read it without the
Large
extra
enough
glass.
this time, right?
Hearing no discussion, because everyone has a Tootsie Roll in their mouth, I'll call for a vote to approve the strategic plan.
So moved.
Motion by Matt.
Second.
Seconded by Tara. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous.
Mary, thank you so much for your work on this. Jill, thank you for
Yes.
your work.
Thank you.
The two of you led this whole process.
If I would have known it was that quick, I would have moved you up earlier. We need a strategic water plan next.
The other item under my my thing is to talk. Sorry, your Tootsie Roll thing really threw me off. What is happening?
Jason has lost all control.
Like, what's going on?
Definitely not being high level.
No, I'm very not high level right now.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. In your packet, you will find the revised job description for our part-time athletic trainer. That is in our budget. This also, we kicked forward from our last meeting to this meeting so we could do some further revisions. Jessica Sinclair is here, our HR specialist, to answer any questions you might have. But Jessica reorganized it so the qualifications are much more clear, concise, condensed. She also organized the responsibilities under kind of broader umbrellas with very specific actionable items underneath each. So if there are any questions, Jessica and I certainly could answer any of those. But Jess, thank you for your work on this.
This looks good.
Okay.
Good.
So
No
we need a
questions?
motion to approve.
I just want to be clear that, so this is in addition to the athletic director. This is someone that will work under the athletic director?
Yeah, so right now, we're contracting out for these services. And so this essentially takes the resources we were spending to contract out and just brings on somebody.
So when we say contracting out, is this when we were talking about the paramedics at
Yes.
the games? Is that specifically what this is to offset, or what? I mean, I read
Yes.
the description. But I guess the cost comparison is it comparable?
Yes.
To what we were paying?
And we now have, for basically the same price, if I'm
Same
wrong,
dollars. Yep.
it's
Someone 12 months.
someone who is on site. Before it was just football games.
Yes.
Now we'll have someone at majority of home games.
Provided there's no, what happens if there's a conflict?
So the away games, the away team, the home team when we're away has the trainer on site.
So
I
if
do
there's
believe
a-
they go with our football team, but
Football has to
But it
have
says it's
Yeah.
football, and
Yep.
so what if there's an away football game when there's a home field hockey game?
we
The
would,
football game would have to
yeah,
take
and we would
precedence.
do what we do
So
now.
then we would still hire a whatever.
We still have to do
Football
that.
is the only
We'd have
sport
to-
that
Has to.
mandates that you have to have one. You're right.
We normally would hire an EMT. So say we're playing Southbridge, we would hire an EMT through Southbridge to represent BMR at that game, and Southbridge would have their own EMT at the.
And if I recall, we were having trouble getting or
Yes,
sealing the deal on getting a away EMT.
100%. Even home ones, frankly, in some games.
This also, the difference, I believe, was EMTs, if it's a suspected head injury, concussion, the EMT cannot clear
Right.
the athlete, but an athletic trainer can perform the test and clear them.
The EMT oddly can't even touch the athlete without a rescue being called to them get the student.
During
So
the
this
fall,
should help that.
During the fall season, how much of their time will be taken up with just football as comparative to all the other sports that we have? So is it going to be like strength and conditioning? Is it going to be, it's what it seems like in here, is that there's going to be a slew of things. But I guess go back to my original question, not to pile on questions, but how much of their time will be taken up by football, by the fall sports, during fall sports?
I can speak a little bit to that if that. So like predominantly, when the football team is away, they'll be with the football team, wherever
So they don't
that
have to be
is.
there
So-
for practices or anything like that?
No, in games.
Just
For games.
Okay.
And then when they're home, they'll be on campus. Like sometimes Darlene will schedule multiple games kind of at once or multiple activities at once. So the individual will be on campus in case anything is needed. It should be budget neutral.
I wanted to make sure that this isn't just a focus on getting football covered by an athletic trainer, that we have other sports
That's
that
right.
also seem to need this sort of,
Agreed.
so to justify the expense. I mean, we went from a stipend to now almost $100,000 a year.
For the athletic director. you're
Between
talking
AD
about. Okay, all right.
and the athletic trainer.
Yeah, but we were still spending the same amount on EMTs
On
and
EMTs.
trainers as we're spending here. I'm glad you clarified that, Matt. Thank you. Jess, did I miss anything on that? Okay.
Do you need a motion to approve
Yes.
the job description as written, as submitted, whatever you say?
Motion made by Jane,
Second.
seconded by Matt and Kerry. Any further discussion?
I came in late, I'm sorry.
Tara,
To Matt's point,
Tara S.
the schedule for this trainer will be through Darlene, right? And the goal is to come to as many home events that don't conflict, right?
Yes, that's what Matt was
Okay,
asking.
all right,
Yeah.
sorry, I missed it.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
So we still have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
One more question. Is this normal at other school districts to have a part-time athletic trainer? So there is
Yes,
a pool, so we're not going to be struggling to find someone like this. And
We might a little
the
bit.
struggle as it is
It's a
anywhere
hard
else, but this
piece
is a
anyhow.
normal
So
thing for a
probably
We might a
part-time.
little bit, but it's
difficult,
normal.
although
They
there
usually-
are colleges in the area that have athletic training degrees, and we might even be able to find a grad assistant who has the,
Tap into that.
Sure.
and tap into, I mean, it
Yeah.
might be a little
Take
further,
some
but.
legwork.
Darlene's plan too, I think.
What?
Oh,
That's Darlene's plan too, I think.
Oh,
She
well, there you
mentioned
go.
that, like some of just our schools are a really good option.
Yeah. Because they have the certifications they need, they just don't have their degree yet. A lot of schools
us.
do that.
Could also be a great opportunity for some of our students who are looking towards athletic training to kind of do like a co-op internship.
internship.
Yeah.
Which is covered.
That would be a great idea.
Yeah, we're good.
Just a reference.
Me and
But
Tara
it's
are
gonna be
having our
hard to
own
find
meeting
somebody.
over here. So, what do you got? You guys done talking about this?
We're just waiting for a vote.
Oh, well, yeah.
One more
you guys
question.
done? Oh, here we go.
Carry
on.
Just because it's nice to have this, and I think that it's important. It seems like, but is this going to be available to all students, or is this only for athletic teams?
We'll say more about that, so I understand your question.
So to say, are they going to be on? So
Cheerleader?
there's 19.5 hours, or up to 19.5 hours per week. Is that only going to encompass game time, or will that be during? Because I think I recall in Darlene's plan that there was going to be 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Strength and conditioning. Is that when?
I just had a conversation with Darlene about this the other day, so maybe I can. The 6 to 8 a.m. We do have a staff member who is a personal trainer, I believe she said, who's going to be running those 6 to 8 a.m.
Oh, okay.
lift sessions through the summer. But she had told me that this athletic trainer would be available to the students in the afternoons, like if you've got a sprained ankle that you're trying to like rehab and come back from. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like a game injury, but if you're trying to rehab something, they'd also be available to that
But
if
for an
time
athlete,
allowed.
for
the
somebody who's an
athletes, yeah.
athlete. So,
So this is
Actually, I
going to be
didn't ask if it
relegated
was
to
all students or not.
athletes.
I didn't ask.
This position will be relegated to athletes. Is that going to be under the purview of the AD, or is that going to be?
I mean, I guess I want to. So let me. I just want to understand what you're asking a little bit more clearly, because I imagine if there's practices or a competition or something of some sort, and there's a student who's injured, that's going into extra help or walking into a musical lesson or something like that. I think it would be incumbent upon the medical person there to tend to our students' needs. I don't think they would say, and I'm not saying you're saying this, Matt,
Yeah.
but like I don't think they would say to the student, sorry,
Go to
Dan,
the athletic
you're
trainer.
not an athlete. I'm not going to look at that ankle for you. Like,
Right.
I don't think that would happen.
Well, what I was actually
Is that what you're getting?
to a point, yes, but also that we don't have a line out the athletic trainer's door of people who
Yeah,
want
it's
to
not
be,
an urgent care
want to
either,
be
right?
right. And like so, like
Yeah.
like how is it going to be? Like
it
I'm
doesn't replace the nurse who's.
Yeah, I was
Right,
gonna say
no,
that.
yeah.
so okay.
And-
Is that what you're getting?
For athletes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to understand a little better
Right.
that this
It's not a
19
drop-in clinic.
this 19.5 hours is going to positively affect what it needs to do, which is for the athletes.
Yes.
So that's clear.
Under number 2, it does
My
say
guess during some
non-game
seasons,
day
it'll
practices.
be only
too.
games,
Yeah.
so that'll fill
It doesn't
19
do
hours.
more than just the games.
Is what the football game,
For
4 hours?
You could have like that
For
staff
athletes.
on
Yeah.
campus
Right.
after hours in case needed. Yeah.
It's not. They're not going to be like triaging.
No.
Right, yeah.
My knee replacement? No, I won't go see him.
Well, you'll know if
That's
Jane's
actually
there.
exactly. I saw it.
You
and I
saw
was
me
like,
stand up and move
that's-
my leg.
If Jane is there, you'll know.
Okay.
Conferring with the athletic trainer.
I have no more questions.
Anyone else? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. I was thinking we needed a trainer for the jaw massage with all the talking we did on that topic. Anyway, moving on. No, we don't have anything for Scott tonight, do we?
So we approved or whatever. Okay.
Thank God. Huh?
He's here anyway.
Yeah, what dedication.
Industrial burner? No.
He's got a mouthful of
It's not on the agenda.
Just report on that lawnmower.
As long as it was set.
I hope all the things he took apart are back together now.
So, school committee forum, is that what we have next? Yeah.
Yes.
Before
Yes,
I
it
jump into that, our next upcoming meetings, May 28th, 2025 at 5 PM. There's a joint meeting with the school building committee, June 4th, June 12th. All three of those are at 5 PM, joint meeting with school building committee. Our next regular meeting is June 12th at 6 PM here, an open school committee meeting. And does anybody object to, and yes, go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
I was just
Future-
waiting for school committee
Yeah.
forum, that's all.
Yeah, but a future agenda item, you want an update on this?
I want the athletics put on for the June meeting so we can get update on schedules, coach positions, and now the new trainer.
Okay, I did have it right here, I didn't
Great,
forget.
thank you.
Wendy had mentioned earlier.
I think Carrie.
I'm sorry, Carrie, I haven't gotten to the,
No, that's, go ahead.
okay. So Wendy had mentioned earlier about a public forum. One, you want to go back to one at the beginning, one at the end? Because I'm probably not going to
Back and
be as
forth.
free, as engaging, because that's,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
yeah, I try to.
It's our meeting, not the.
Yeah, because of the nature of the thing, we want to hear all the input on this 2-year ongoing saga. The end was not necessary, and I apologize, and that Erin, left, and I don't blame her. Sometimes it's best to walk away before you say something you regret or do something you regret. So I against my better judgment, after I said no more, I let one more come up. So we'll put that, if we could, on the agenda. Or we'll just put actually, we'll stick with one, put it at the end.
Put it at the end.
Yeah. If people want to talk good welfare, they can sit through the whole meeting and not just come in, let them come in at the end. If that's,
Committee wants.
we'll do one of each.
If
We'll do one of each because of the poor people that are
Try
coming
one
in.
of each.
It's
one
in
of
our
each.
favor, right? So if we have a student that comes who
Yeah,
wants to
we'll do one
present
of each.
something, we can
They
move
can
them
speak anyway,
forward.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
All right, we'll do one of each. One at the beginning and one before our good and welfare.
Yes, you'll have nobody.
They'll have to sit through Scott's facilities update. Okay, with that, school committee forum.
The survey that was sent out to, I believe, all of the school committee and school building committee. Just to remind everyone, they're looking to have our answers back by Monday. So it can be included in the joint meeting on Wednesday.
Doesn't
right.
take long.
No, it's real quick.
That was quick.
For those who might
Even
not
when
check
you
their
do it
email that
quick.
frequently.
Thank you,
there's
I
a
know,
survey in there.
I know you're getting that.
I want to say one
Did
thing.
everyone get it?
No.
No?
Dean,
I don't believe so, but don't quote.
Yeah. Double check.
I just wanted to say that I appreciate Millville coming. I appreciate parents, everybody coming. It's not just the people that attend these meetings that we hear from. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, you're not kidding about that. We hear from a lot more people that show up to these meetings. That is correct. You are correct on that, and I agree. Anyone else?
I would just urge the folks that came tonight and, the folks that I run into on a daily basis and the folks that are on Facebook, I'm glad that some of those folks were in tonight and were able to get a clear rundown of what we've actually been going over for the past a lot longer than I've been on this board, but ever since I've been on this board. Matter of fact, my very first meeting was with Bob Ferrari, and I quickly almost regretted ever pulling papers for this board, but since then it's changed. But I always urge, whenever I'm in talking to people, I say, please come to the meeting, because I don't mind sitting here for 5 hours, 6 hours. I know not everybody feels that way, but if it means that the people have a voice and they're getting a clear, concise message from the people, us, the Board of Selectmen, everybody that was here tonight, that's the most important thing. So I just wanted to thank those parents and town folk that came in to get a clear understanding of what we're doing. Thank you, that's it.
Anyone else? I'll just touch on a couple of the comments. I have, and the superintendent, I think most of you have known that I've been talking with Peter and Jennifer for over a year regarding this, meeting, and I've been giving the superintendent updates on that. And Richard, the new chairman, has reached out to me a few times since taking that place. So there's not a phone call I won't answer from anyone in the town regarding anything, and so it's not a conspiracy and believe me, the threat of deregionalization, and that's not a muscle move whatsoever. I mean, I've been threatened by that you know what I mean.
Every year.
You know, Jane. We're a quasi-charter. Well, it was always the threat was always to get rid of Millville. And with our quasi-charter school in Millville, and so, I get it. I get the politics of it. That absolutely had, when I got the call the other morning, that is done. That doesn't weigh whatsoever. It is not feasible. It's not even possible. Never, the OPEB contribution and paying to think you're going to pay the town of Blackstone, buy us out on this building in the high school. That's, you can't afford the school budget. So with that being said, but at the end of the day, politically, we can have challenges and differences. But at the end of the day, we will get there and to get those kids back into that building safe and sound. And there are a lot of conversations, and everybody's entitled to their opinions, and everybody's opinions are valued. We did much better with almost. We started it off without making it about personalities. Of course, the longer we talk, then the personalities come into play. But hopefully, we can eliminate that. I appreciate Erin Vanaco's commitment to this district and this committee, and I'm sorry that she felt as though she had to leave. And again, I'll reach out to her, and I appreciate. I will say this: I've been on the Board of Selectmen since 2015, minus a couple of years on Boys and Girls Club Board of Directors, and several other boards and committees. This is the hardest working committee in both Blackstone and Millville, by far. This is like, they have no idea, the subcommittees and all the other work, and as a selectman, you have constituents. When you are a school committee member, you have those constituents and those kids. You know what I mean? And it's I appreciate what everybody on this committee does and everybody's opinion, and I look forward to continuing to work together and move this district forward. So, and I appreciate everything again. I'm sorry that Erin left. I understand why she would, and with that, I will take a motion to enter into executive session, not to return. To adjourn an executive session, not to return to open session. Motion was made by
Second.
Tara, S or L?
Made by
Tara Scobie, seconded by Tara Larkin. Roll call vote. Matt?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Yes.
Tara, yes. Tara?
Yes.
Jane? Erin? Sorry. Kerry, yes. Dan is a yes.